Hello, BookTube. You have a very busy reading month ahead of you for February, don't you? And that's not counting the stuff you were planning on reading on your own. That has to go by the wayside right away. I'm talking about compulsory BookTube reading. It's very fortunate that by now most of you have given your will entirely over to your social media influencer BookTube overlords. We determine your reading now. And there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up in February. There is an inaugural BookTube event called Holmes is Where the Heart Is. That has a whole bunch of prompts. It's all about Sherlock Holmes. Read a long novel, read some short stories, read a pastiche or two. Fascinating. A month-long celebration of Sherlock Holmes. There's also Classics and Company. Micah Cummins and Ann Novella have a regular ongoing thing. They started last year, and now it's going on for 2024 of Classics and Company, where there's a Discord and there's a looser structure. It's not month by month. There's a looser structure to going at a roster of classic books. So since it's not month by month, Classics and Company for February doesn't start until the middle of the month. It starts around the 15th or 16th, I think, and goes until the end of March, goes until the last day of March. And that stretch of time is being devoted to Middlemarch by George Eliot. How many of you have had Middlemarch up on the shelf and haven't taken it down? Now's a perfect opportunity. Log on to their Discord, watch whatever videos they produce, and feel like you are reading Middlemarch in good company, in good, friendly company. Then there's a newcomer on the BookTube scene who is dominating all and sweeping the field before him. This is Joe Spivey of the eponymous channel, Joe Spivey. And in February, he is starting what I think is his first read-along of a book, as opposed to just enthusing about things and maybe getting you to enthuse about things. He's going to be reading Fiona McCarthy's biography of Lord Byron. A big hefty thing. He has it in a paperback that I would really like to see. I don't know if this ever had a paperback release in the U.S. Well, there will be plenty of time to talk about this book in February. There are all kinds of Byron biographies. I don't know if this is Joe Spivey's first Byron biography. I have read hundreds of them, and so it's a. I'm able to look at this in the spectrum of other Byron biographies, what they do well, what they do poorly. Some of them, of course, aren't worth the paper they're written on. And others are really good, but they won't work as a general portal to a life because they've got agendas of their own. They've got points that they want to make. That's coming up in February. There's also Roger's Cheap Old Book Club over on Michael K. Vaughan's channel, the cheapest book club of them all, because all the books are in the public domain. They're all, you can get them on Project Gutenberg unless you are a print and paper glue binding holdout, an intentional literary Luddite. If you're not, if you're willing to read an ebook, well, you can get everything in Roger's Cheap Old Book Club for free at Project Gutenberg. Although in a move that will surprise no one, Mike actually has print copies of I think everything that's on the list for 2024. And February is Of One Blood by Pauline Hopkins. Which is a very, very interesting choice, which certainly sets it apart in Roger's Cheap Old Book Club. I'm never going to forgive him for Brigadier Gerard. I have never heard anyone, in all the time that I've been on BookTube, I've never heard anyone talk about Pauline Hopkins. Or this book, which I have not read in decades. And that's coming up in February. That's free on Project Gutenberg, and probably a voyage of discovery for almost all of you. How fun is that? And Michael K. Vaughan, of course, has a Discord. And all the cool kids have Discords. I myself tried it, and I just don't get along with Discord. Oh my God, I just don't get along with it. Maybe I should try it again and see. There were a whole bunch of aspects of it that I didn't like. I don't like how sticky it is. I don't like how intrusive it is. I don't like how ADHD it is. I also don't like, I didn't like, once I learned about it, I didn't like how almost impossible it is to quit. It's you have to beg and grovel and pay money to quit almost. But I also don't, one other element of Discord that I guess you egalitarian folk don't mind it so much. But in Discord, it's possible for the conversation to take place when you're not around. That's how rebellions start. And speaking of which, there's also the Steve Donoghue book club, which is starting in February with this book. Marie Antoinette, who's woefully familiar with rebellions. This is coming up in February, just a day away. We're starting tomorrow, so that's a lot. That's the bare bones of your February for BookTube. Your February reading, I'm sure there are a huge number of events that I'm not remembering, but this will get you started. You have time to futz around and get ready and maybe find an edition of Middlemarch that you like. Maybe read a little about it. If you've not read it yet and it's been bothering you, sitting on your shelf intimidating you, have time to do that. You have a bulk of, February is a short month, so you have a bulk of the month to prepare for that. You don't have to jump into that right away. With Marie Antoinette, we are doing the first 100 pages, so until the death of Louis XV, the minute he pops his clogs, we're on to part 2. We're doing the first 100 pages, and that's for this coming weekend. So that's I'll probably do a video on Sunday, so that's plenty of time to read 100 pages, isn't it? And Roger's Cheap Old Book Club, Of One Blood, is very short, and there isn't any timetable, so and Holmes is where the heart is. Well, all the Holmes stuff is short, even the longer novels are short, so there's that. That's easy to do. Probably the biggest ask here is a big biography of Lord Byron. But there's no choice in the matter because Joe Spivey is lord over us all now. So he's the original BookTube wunderkind. So you pretty much have to say yes. And that's just the beginning. You let me know in the comments what I'm missing, what other things are going on. I'd love to do another one of these videos talking about a whole bunch more stuff. But these are biggies, and they're lots of fun and a lot of variety, and you have to do them all because you signed on to BookTube. Sorry, I should have read the fine print. Thank you, BookTube.